settlement in the David constituency, Hardap region. Griselda and David are anxiously searching for a radio signal to listen to their local Nama language station through the national broadcaster.
Today, never ngai nin ngasi never kai ha. Never scholar ye kan ngang ai ba huda ye omara net vergitsi helaga hun kacha. Today ye sida hiya ye never school ga tanda chi kona never hoda china omara net vergit kacha. Muse kage koina uwa. Nen ge kom sin hiya da uwa na. Pia kami tani si kon jine da ge uwa khabe da ge network ke om si tha hom sing oachi tabi ga ba khut tuira kon kan huwa tha.
The poor reception scenario is reflected at the site of Amunyela, a farm worker also in Uibe settlement, as he stands on a hill to try to get a cell phone signal that will enable him to get in touch with his families in the north of the country. The challenge encountered at Uibes and other areas in the country is a clear indication that quality network coverage is a necessity because it enables effective communication and access to information, which is crucial for communities to make informed decisions and in turn change their livelihoods. The Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Hardap Regional Office, visited some of the remote areas in Hardap region to assess the impact of radio transmission, television reception, and cell phone network coverage.
Radio coverage, zero. So unless you have DSTV, that's the only way that you'll be able to watch or listen to the radio.
Ons verneem iets is geslaan hier by die toring en dis nou al baie lank wat ons sonder radio sit. Die TV radio speel, maar ons gewone radio speel nie. Okay. Ja.
Kwato pura kena rukavango radio zorukavango kwato tani network zono phone na zokusekela TV NBC kwato kutara.
The network which we use is for our own boss who bought his own material to work with the MTC network, but the problem, the network, we do not have enough network.
For the TV signal, we just have a problem with the decoders, which it's only showing one channel, which is MBC1. And for MBC4, it has a educational channel. It's more about mathematics, life science, and yeah, it educates people more on schoolwork. So yeah, I just want them to bring them back in order for us to perform good in school.
Uibes has a population of about 500 people who mainly depends on small stock farming and a community conservancy to generate income. To empower the community with information, they only have one primary school and one child development center. Hence their plea for network coverage, which is necessary to connect to the internet for personal use, educational purpose, and to acquire information on government services.
So ngang ai ba hu dai network ke watuma radio on je hiren dar ngadira season ro kape.
We can't get if there's no network, we can't get more information, and we can't study, and there's only small information from the books and from our people, so that's impacting me badly.
According to the councillor of David constituency, Hercules Janse, there are ongoing consultations with the government's office and MTC to find a permanent solution for the weak radio and cell phone signal in this constituency. One of the solutions is the signal extension of the newly erected tower between Marienthal and Maltahir, which currently only reaches until Falpom Farm. This signal has a limited reach and partially excludes Uibes, which is at the bottom of a hill.
Gratefully, with the demarcations, Maltahir was demarcated as our constituency. So we could get our constituency office in Maltahir, from where we could serve the neighbor areas. And I think that has made the task easier for the government to bring service to the people closer.
"83-year-old Lina Wenstan, a resident of Schlip in the Rehoboth Rural Constituency, is happy due to the fact that they sometimes have a cell phone network coverage. However, television and radio reception is usually interrupted, hence at times they are unable to listen to radio programs and watch the news on television." Wenstan also reflected on the impact this predicament has on their day-to-day activities, such as a lack of effective communication, as this denies them opportunities to access information on education, health and employment opportunities. This also denies them an opportunity to participate actively in other social upliftment programs that have a direct bearing in their livelihood.
It's just the sound is very off. So it's off. That's not a radio.
The Councillor of Rehoboth Rural Constituency, Ryan McNabb, attributed the network failure in Schlip to the fact that it is connected to a power grid, which goes off as a result of heavy rains. Hence, an alternative source of energy such as solar is needed. However, the constituency now has a new network tower situated at Shoombe Agricultural College, as well as the ongoing 081 MTC project aimed at ensuring network coverage across the country. These sentiments resonate with Granny Lina Wenstan, who lived for more than 70 years without access to radio reception and was therefore grateful that regardless of the poor signal, a tower was erected at Schlip, and that at times she could listen to their local language on topics that interest her. Siano Besser, a resident of Klein Aub settlement, which is also situated in the Rehoboth Rural Constituency, has urged government to boost the network signal in their area for the farmers to also access relevant information through their cell phones.
Soos vooral by onze agricultural besigheid wat ons hier het en die diere wat ons hier mee boer. Enige tyd wanneer ons kan op internet gaan, wanneer internet vir ons beter is dit na 12 in die aand, na 1 uur in die oggendtyd wanneer die netwerk gemaklik is vir ons om te gebruik. Dis enige wanneer ons kan informasie kry. En veral as ons WhatsApp gebruik, as jy in die oggend seker 10 uur foto moet stuur, dan gaan eers in die aand hier. So dis 'n hele lang proses. Die mense ontvang nie die goed op tyd nie. Soos die foto's en goed wat ons vir die mense stuur, die soort siektes wat in die diere is wat ons wil probeer uitvind, sodat mense kry eers na die tyd ons goed en dis maar 'n ongerieflike besigheid met die swak netwerk wat ons het, met die selfone en veral radio's en die TV's is daarom nog gaanbaar vir ons wat dit het.
As you see here, we have a small internet package that boosts our internet there inside, and that is what we usually use. But then it's very weak because it depends on the weather, and then sometimes there's absolutely no network at all.
Ik woon op een plaats wat zijn naam is Osus. Op die plaats heeft ons een probleem met die netwerk. Die netwerk vangt niet op een zekere plek. by 'n boom moet jy die sokkie hang en dan moet jy die foon insit. Dan moet die foon so staan. En as jy 'n SMS stuur, moet jy eers wag totdat jy netwerk kry. Die netwerk wat kom is net 2 streepietjies. As jy die foon beweeg, dan gaan die netwerk weg. By die huis vang jy ook nie op nie. Jy moet veld toe gaan na 'n berg toe. Daar vang jy mooi op. By die radio het ek 'n probleem. Daar moet jy die radio net op een plek. Ons het 'n skerm. In die skerm staan 'n tafel. Op die tafel moet jy op die hoek sit. Die toring mag ook nie lank wees nie. Hy mag ook nie kort wees nie. Dan vang hy op. As jy hom daar vanaf wegvat, is hy weg. So die radio moet net op die plek staan. Jy moet hom daar afsit, jy moet hom daar aansit. Hy moet daar bly.
The MICT crew then drove about 200 kilometers west of Marienthal to assess network coverage in Rietwoog and Namsa, where they came across Ekehard Meyer, who was struggling to connect his satellite phone installed in his pickup truck.
Helgard, die kommen für Heinrich.
According to Meyer, he uses his phone to communicate with people on his farm and during tour guides, but the network signal becomes weaker the further he drives away from the towers.
Een issue is ook, daar by Nomsa het hulle 'n nuwe toring opgesit, maar hulle die toring, omdat dit nou, die maatskappy wat dit gebou het, soos my informasie is, het dit verkeerdelik nie op die heuwel gebou nie, hy in die daaronder ingesit, net langs aan, want dit makliker gewees het om dit op te sit, wat beteken dit kom nie ver genoeg nie. Maar data netwerk is verskriklik swak. Dit werk eintlik glad nie op 'n dag, miskien iewers dit was nog op tot 11 uur in die aand. As mense 11 uur begin het, dan kan 'n mens iets miskien reg gekry het, maar dit is nou al 'n jaar.
This problem is also experienced east of the region as the cell phone connection cuts off about 10 kilometers out of Stamford and Aranos. Therefore, the residents would like to have the signal extended to cover the surrounding farming communities.
As ons by die van Aranos af na plaas toe gaan, dan kan daar radio nie enige stasie vang nie. Nie enige nie opvangs, ja, jy het die opvangs enige stasie ook nie. Dan moet ons maar die memorykaart maar gebruik.
McNabb emphasized on the stride made by government in ensuring access to information and communication technology, which he said was non-existent. And as councillors, they had to travel physically to the communities to share information until the government erected radio and television towers in the constituency in 2016.
The programs and the projects that we as a constituency launched through our government, people are on top of, information, and they could submit project proposals. They know when, health officials are at specific clinics. They are very much informed, and it makes lives of the ordinary men at the grassroots level so much easier.
It was very evident for the MICT crew that telecommunication network and television reception is very weak or non-existent in remote areas. Hence, it needs to be extended to hasten the access to information and to break the communication barriers, as the lack thereof can negatively impact on the successful implementation of socio-economic development programs in the affected communities. These are just some of the communities in Namibia who are eagerly awaiting for a lasting solution to poor network coverage. Chris Settlement in Gibeon constituency is one of the few areas where a mobile telecommunication tower was upgraded from 2G to 3G in order to cover the entire settlement and surrounding areas, thus allowing the population to communicate and have access to 3G broadband services.
In terms of development, if the council take a resolution, it's procedural. That's the normal procedure. Me as the councillor, I identify a project. And if I need some funds for that project, I have to take that thing to the council chambers.
The community members spoken to expressed their satisfactions at the new development and wish for the telecommunication service providers to extend the signal to cover other areas in the region.
Nee, die radio was alright en onze dokter TV gekeken. Daar was net in netwerken. En nonkans, ambulance en politie en mensen rondbel.
Misschien niet zo. Tamara nama geluisterd niet. Dat is nonkans hoor van hem.
As the country continues to successfully implement information and communication technology programs, the Namibian government and private sector is cognizant of the fact that every person needs information for decision-making, exploring available opportunities. Hence, in his maiden speech of the State of the Region address, Hardap Governor Reverend Solomon April emphasized the need for access and usage of information as a necessity to improve rural livelihoods. The governor also acknowledged that during his tenure, it will be important to work with the relevant stakeholders to ensure that young people and farmers have access to the relevant information through erection of telecommunication infrastructure in remote areas. This will then translate into informed communities that can make an impactful contribution to the realization of an inclusive development for all Namibians and accomplishment of the national development programs.